Hey, what's going on, guys? Gathalion, welcome back, or two. This is my first Destiny 2 video, isn't it? We haven't been doing a lot of YouTube. Should probably fix that. Anyways, what's up, guys? We've had the beta for about a week, give or take. It's ending, it's over. Depending on when you watch this video, it's done. No more to say, no more to see, no more to do. Not that there was a whole lot to do within the beta itself, but I'm gonna leave the lack of content complaints for all the comments because I'm sure you guys are gonna salt it up down there. You gotta pretend the comment section is a slug and just cover it with salt, man. Salt, 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 salt. All right, cool. Now that we're past that part, let's talk about how I felt about the beta, how I feel going into Destiny 2, and what we had here. So, my initial thoughts are excitement, though albeit I'm kind of, I'm a little, like, there's some questions I got about Destiny 2. There's some stuff in the Destiny 2 beta that I saw that I'm like, oh, that's question mark. First off, gunplay feels like Destiny, obviously. You know, they think the most common comment out there is Destiny 1.5. More like Destiny Fun.5, am I right? But it's good. I mean, like, my main complaint with Destiny 1 was never the gunplay. It was always along the lines of consistency of content. You know, post year one, Destiny was kind of a mess. I mean, after Take a King came out, it was a big question mark as to when we were going to get our next shit. Nobody knew. I didn't know. You didn't know. We have at least a timetable for year one of Destiny 2, knowing that we're going to get some consistent content. But, you know, outside of that, what are we going to see? What are we going to get at launch? Is there going to be enough? Yada, yada, yada. We got a lot of questions, but the beta felt good. It felt like Destiny. It felt like a tighter Destiny. PvP felt more balanced. I'm not a great PvPer, but I felt like it performed pretty well in the beta because I wasn't constantly getting nailed by snipers, because I tend to play a little bit like a dumbass. You know, I run out into like the middle of nowhere or in a sniper line, I get my head blown off. But it's very much team shot the game right now. 4v4 feels good for competitive type play. I don't know how it's gonna feel at the end of the day for the average player. My first notion is it might not feel too good for someone who's used to playing sixes, because sixes are kind of chaotic, but it lets the guy who's kind of a casual PvPer get in there, shoot some mans, and get it done. Destiny 2, it feels very different. You definitely need to have your team shots on, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not complaining about that. It's just not as user friendly. You know, you hop into a fire team with a couple guys you don't know what's going to happen. So it's not as user friendly, PvP, but I do feel like it's more competitive, better balanced, and slower though, like slightly slower. In the beta, it felt like supers inside of PvP, especially inside of Control, were too slow. In Countdown, it felt just right. I'm kind of hoping that they have different multipliers, modifiers for how quickly you get your supers and your grenades and your melees back and your abilities. I'm hoping that they have different modifiers for that per PvP mode. That would make the most sense to me, but whether or not it'll happen is up in the air. PvE-wise, it felt good. You know, the strike that we had here was really fun. The environment was beautiful. Saw a lot of old faces, a lot of quote-unquote reskinned enemies, but, you know, it's not like the lore changed overnight since this is a direct sequel to the game that we just played for 3 years, so it makes sense that we see familiar faces. Saw some new enemies inside that as well, and some renditions on some older ones that were improvements. Though I have to ask, like, why do the phalanxes have a button on the front of their shield that turns off the shield? It feels to me like not a good idea from the Cabal. I feel like for a warrior race, they wouldn't put an off button for their main defense on the fucking front of the shield. That's just me. So PvE feels good. You know, the strike that was here had an interesting strike boss, 3 tiers, yada yada. The fight itself takes quite a while. Maybe partially due to the lack of power ammo, though Bungie has said that power ammo will be significantly increased in the final build. I've yet to play that build, so from what we have here, not enough super energy, not enough power ammo. Switching between your different primary sets, your energy weapon and your kinetic weapon, feels good. I don't really have any complaints about that. You know, being able to go between a pulse and a hand cannon felt good. But definitely not enough power ammo there. It feels good. I mean, it feels like Destiny, you know? I'm gonna say if you're someone who played Destiny 1 and you hated the core combat, like you just couldn't get into it, like it didn't feel good to you, like you didn't like that Bungie style combat, because that was never my complaint. You know, if your complaint's story, then maybe come back. You know, if your complaint is the progression system, that's a big question mark. But if your complaint was how Destiny played as a video game, I don't think this is going to be the game for you. I don't think this is a second coming. You know, this is a refinement on the original vision of Destiny. Possibly what it should have been out the gate had a little bit more time to cook, and a crew that was there from start to beginning. We're promised a lot of story in this one. So if you're looking for story, this is probably for you. You know, if you like the original gameplay and you want some more lore and shit, this is for you. We know Bungie's gonna make a raid. We don't know what's gonna be in the raid, but we know they do a good job in the raid. You know, I'll give them a sidestep on Crota's End because it was a glorified strike at best, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. The other 3 raids are fantastic. So that's my thoughts on it, man. I mean, like, the beta didn't give us a whole lot to go off of. It felt like Destiny. It felt like more Destiny. It felt like shiny Destiny, you know, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. For me, I fucking love this game. Like, I'm excited for it. It's more of what I love. So if you're one of those people, then it's gonna be great for you. Big question marks for me going forward really depend on the weekly rituals. What are we doing at reset? How much is there going to be able to do on a daily basis? What am I logging in to do daily, weekly, on the weekend? Like, that matters to me, and I want to know what's coming there. And I don't know, to a degree. You know, we know about like flashpoints and stuff like that and blah blah. But I want to know how it's going to feel week to week. You can tell me about all these activities, but obviously I won't know the answers to these things until I sit down and play it. And I want to know how it feels week to week. The other thing is progression. You know, one of my biggest complaints with halfway through year 2, through Rise of Iron Era Destiny 1, is that it was so fucking easy to get loot. And I know...
You play this game, Gathalion. You play it for fucking living. I only have like 3 hours a day to play.
Listen, man, I used to grind World of Warcraft when I was working a job, you know, had infants at home, blah, blah, man. And it would still feel good when it would take hours and weeks and shit to get stuff. That's just the gamer I am. I've always been someone who likes to invest in a system. I used to invest in farming and Borderlands 2 for hours and hours and hours and hours. And that was before I was ever a content creator, so it's whatever. That's just what I like to see. You know, I'm hoping Destiny is a return to form with Destiny 2, where things are a bit grindier. That's what I want to see. We do know Infusion is back, as per this beta build. Whether or not that'll change before launch, who knows? But we know Infusion, we pretty much know it's back. So are we going to get the one-to-one candy Infusion with super smart loot that's always feeding you better gear? And at this point, we're chasing, you know, numbers instead of items, and it just doesn't feel as good. Who knows? I really hope the progression system takes a bit of time. I hope it's not overly rewarding, but I hope it's rewarding enough to feel good for the people playing it. Those are my big question marks. Progression and the rituals we have on a weekly, daily basis. So, beta was fun. It was very much a beta. That's my thoughts on it. Thank you guys for watching. It's good to be back. And I'll see y'all back inside Destiny 2. Bye!